What makes a sky duel feel real to someone who has actually lived it? Is it speed, danger, or something quieter that only pilots notice? Some films chase excitement. A rare few chase truth. Right in the middle of this list, one movie proves that realism is not about noise. It's about restraint. And as we climb higher, the skies stop looking cinematic and start feeling remembered. Stay with me, because the final entries don't just show flight, they understand it. Number 15, Battle of Britain, 1969. This film doesn't feel staged, it feels recalled. Pilots often say Battle of Britain looks the way the sky actually behaved, not the way movies usually imagine it. That's because the production relied on real aircraft flown in real conditions. The planes drift, wobble, and respond slowly to control changes, exactly as pilots described from that era. The sky is wide, bright, and sometimes uncooperative, which is the point. The camera never rushes. Instead of dramatic cuts, the film allows long stretches of open air where small movements matter. A slight tilt of the wing, a gradual climb, a quiet adjustment that decides everything. That pacing mirrors real flight, where nothing happens fast until suddenly it does. Behind the scenes, the crew dealt with weather delays, mechanical issues, and the limits of older aircraft. Rather than hide those challenges, the film absorbs them. The result is footage that feels physical, not polished. Pilots have praised how the planes respond to wind and light, and how the horizon never feels locked in place. What truly earns respect is the restraint. There is no rush to impress. The sky is treated as a space that demands patience and awareness. Battle of Britain endures because it respects reality. It understands that flying is not constant drama. It's long moments of calm shaped by decisions that quietly matter. Number 14, 12 O'Clock High, 1949. This movie understands that the hardest part of flight often happens before takeoff. Pilots consistently praise 12 O'Clock High for capturing the emotional weight of responsibility in the sky. The film focuses less on spectacle and more on preparation, leadership, and mental strain. Briefings feel tense, silences feel heavy, small gestures carry meaning. The flying scenes are grounded, but the real strength lies in what surrounds them. The way crews stand quietly before heading out. The way leaders speak with calm control, even when pressure builds. Pilots have said these moments feel familiar, because real flight is shaped as much by mindset as movement. The film blends staged scenes with real aerial footage, giving it a documentary-like texture. The transitions are subtle, and the result feels honest rather than dramatic. Cockpit behavior is restrained and precise. No unnecessary motion, no exaggerated reactions. What pilots respect most is the pacing. The tension grows slowly, the way it does in real life. There is time to think, doubt, and commit. The film shows that flight is not just about skill, but about endurance and steady judgment. 12 O'Clock High lasts because it understands leadership in the sky. It shows that calm decisions, made under quiet pressure, shape outcomes long before the aircraft ever rises. Number 13, The Blue Max, 1966. This film reminds you how fragile early flight really was. Pilots admire the Blue Max because nothing about the aircraft feels stable or easy. The planes shake, they drift. They respond slowly, sometimes reluctantly, to control input. That vulnerability is exactly what early flyers described, and the film refuses to smooth it out. The story follows a determined pilot chasing recognition, but the sky never fully cooperates. Director John Guillermin used restored aircraft and experienced flyers to capture long, natural shots over open landscapes. The wide angles show how exposed the pilots were, suspended in space with little protection. During production, one serious in-air incident forced the crew to stop and reassess. That experience reinforced the reality the film was already showing. Early aircraft demanded respect. Skill mattered, but caution mattered more. Pilots often point to the way the planes hesitate during turns or lose energy during climbs. Those details are rarely seen on screen, yet they define early flight. The Blue Max captures the emotional rhythm of flying fragile machines. Confidence mixed with tension. Ambition checked by reality. The film stands out because it doesn't glorify flight. It presents it as demanding, uncertain, and deeply human. The sky inspires, but it also humbles. That balance is why pilots still talk about it. Number 12, Tora, 1970. This film treats the sky like a system, not a stage. Pilots respect Tora for its methodical approach to aerial storytelling. The film spends time on planning, coordination, and timing, showing how flight depends on preparation long before aircraft leave the ground. Two production teams work together to present different perspectives with balance. Real aircraft, many carefully modified, were flown in natural light. Formations feel deliberate. Takeoffs feel heavy. Movements are measured rather than dramatic. What pilots notice is the discipline. Aircraft don't rush into action. Crews check, adjust, and communicate with precision. The sky is portrayed as a shared space shaped by coordination rather than individual flair. Behind the scenes, large-scale logistics and unpredictable weather tested the crew. Instead of forcing control, the filmmakers adapted, letting real conditions shape the footage. That choice gives the film a grounded texture. Pilots often say Tora, Tora, Tora captures how major events are built from small decisions. Timing matters. Awareness matters. The sky rewards preparation. The film earns respect because it shows flight as a process, not a shortcut. Number 11. Dark Blue World, 2001. This film feels less like a movie and more like a memory. Pilots praise Dark Blue World for blending emotional depth with careful realism. The flying scenes combine restored aircraft with well-matched archival footage, creating transitions that feel natural rather than staged. Actors trained extensively in cockpit behavior. Their movements are subtle and purposeful. Scanning the horizon, adjusting controls, communicating with brief signals. Pilots notice these details immediately. The film takes time to show quiet skies, long glides, cold air, open space. These moments reflect what flyers often describe as the true experience of flight. Not constant action, but steady awareness shaped by isolation. Production limits made the filmmakers creative. Instead of hiding constraints, they leaned into atmosphere. The result is a sky that feels lived in, not decorated. Pilots admire Dark Blue World because it shows how flight changes people. It forms bonds, it tests loyalty, it leaves marks that remain long after the engines stop. This is not just a story about flying. It is about memory, discipline, and the weight of experience carried silently through the sky. Number 10. Memphis Belle, 1990. This film proves that flight is never a solo act. Pilots often say Memphis Belle feels real because it shows how flying large aircraft depended on trust, routine, and shared responsibility. The story stays inside tight spaces, where every sound echoes and every movement matters. Nothing feels spacious or heroic. It feels crowded, focused, and tense in a quiet way. The production made a bold choice by using restored aircraft that behaved like the originals. When the plane shakes on screen, it's not added later. It's happening in real air. Camera crews worked inside narrow compartments, dealing with vibration, awkward angles, and constant motion. That discomfort shows up on screen, and pilots recognize it immediately. What stands out is the calm communication between crew members. No shouting, no panic, just steady voices and practiced actions. Pilots have pointed out how accurate the body language feels, especially during long stretches where nothing dramatic happens, yet attention never drops. The film also captures fatigue, the slow buildup of strain, the hope of finishing one last journey. Memphis Belle respects the truth that flying is about consistency more than excitement. It shows how real crews relied on discipline and mutual confidence. That honesty is why pilots still recommend it. The film doesn't exaggerate flight. It explains it quietly and clearly. Number 9. The Bridges at Toko-Ri, 1954. This is a film about preparation as much as flight. Pilots respect the bridges at Toko-Ri because it spends time on what usually gets skipped, studying maps, waiting on deck, walking toward the aircraft with thoughts you don't say out loud. These moments feel familiar to anyone who has flown under pressure. The production received full support from the Navy, allowing real carriers and real aircraft to be filmed in operation. Takeoffs feel heavy, landings feel precise and demanding. The sky is not treated as freedom, but as responsibility. One serious loss during production forced the team to pause. That moment changed the tone of the film. From that point on, every scene carries quiet respect. Pilots often say they feel that shift, even if they don't know the story behind it. What the film gets right is restraint. No rushing, no overstatement. The sky remains beautiful, but it is never forgiving. Each flight feels earned. Pilots admire how the movie shows courage as calm commitment, not dramatic gestures. The Bridges at Toko-Ri endures because it understands that real flight is shaped by choices made before wheels ever leave the surface. Number 8. Aces High, 1976. This film captures the waiting that defines real flight. Pilots often praise Aces High for showing the emotional rhythm of early aviation. Long periods of anticipation followed by sudden intensity. The aircraft feel light, sensitive, and demanding. They wobble, drift, and require constant correction. The director shaped the pacing around that reality. Scenes breathe. Silence matters. Conversations are brief and restrained. Pilots recognize this tone because real flyers conserve energy and focus. Restored aircraft were used extensively, and their fragility dictated how scenes were filmed. One unexpected mechanical issue during production reminded everyone just how unpredictable these machines could be. Rather than hide that reality, the film leans into it. What stands out is how tired the characters look, how pressure builds quietly. Pilots often say the film understands that fear doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it settles in slowly. Aces High avoids exaggeration. It respects the truth that flying light aircraft required awareness, discipline, and emotional control. That honesty is why pilots continue to reference it when talking about realism. Number 7. Angels 1-5 of 1952. This film understands that realism doesn't need volume. Angels 1-5 earns pilot respect by focusing on routine. Long days, brief alerts, calm responses. The flying scenes are grounded, but the true realism lies in the quiet moments between them. Real air bases and aircraft were used, many handled by experienced crews. The camera lingers on small actions that pilots immediately recognize. A mechanic checking a detail twice. A pilot clearing fog from goggles. A commander scanning the sky without speaking. The film avoids dramatic speeches. Instead, it shows how readiness becomes habit. Pilots admire this restraint because it mirrors real experience. Most flights are not constant tension. They are controlled focus. What makes Angels 1-5 stand out is its patience. It trusts the audience to notice details rather than forcing emotion. Pilots say the mental side of flight feels especially accurate. The waiting, the responsibility, the need to stay steady even when tired. This film proves that truth does not need exaggeration. It needs observation. Number 6. The Great Waldo Pepper, 1975. This film captures the pull of the sky itself. Pilots admire the Great Waldo Pepper because it understands why flyers struggle to walk away. The story follows a former pilot chasing meaning through barnstorming shows, where precision and nerve still matter deeply. Real aircraft and real flying stunts dominate the film. Long shots show just how exposed these flyers were. There is no hiding from wind, balance, or gravity. One stunt nearly failed when a wing structure weakened, forcing a careful recovery and reinforcing how unforgiving flight can be. Instead of cutting away, the film allows the sky to remain present. Pilots often say these moments feel authentic because they show hesitation, adjustment, and restraint. The emotional core resonates strongly with flyers. The sky becomes a place of memory, identity, and longing. Not excitement, not glory, but connection. The Great Waldo Pepper stands apart because it shows flight as something that stays with you. Pilots respect it because it understands that once the sky becomes part of someone's life, it never truly lets go. Number 5. Flyboys in 2006. This film surprises pilots by taking fragile flight seriously. Even with modern filmmaking tools, Flyboys earns respect because it never forgets how demanding early aircraft really were. The planes feel light, exposed, and unforgiving. Controls require strength. Turns bleed speed. The sky behaves like a force that must be read, not challenged. What pilots often point out is how the aircraft hesitate. They don't snap into motion. They drift slightly before responding, which mirrors real accounts from open cockpit flyers. Director Tony Bill, a pilot himself, insisted on long shots that let the audience feel instability instead of hiding it behind quick edits. The production built flying replicas and repaired them repeatedly after weather damage. Rather than replace them with fully digital models, the team chose realism. That decision gave the film texture. Wind matters. Sun glare matters. Distance matters. Pilots also praise the small details. Hand signals instead of advanced communication. Flyers leaning into turns to compensate. Constant scanning of empty sky. These moments feel practiced, not performed. Flyboys works because it balances heart with physical truth. It shows young flyers learning respect for the sky through trial, patience, and discipline. The film reminds viewers that early flight was never smooth. It was earned inch by inch. Number 4. 633 Squadron, 1964. This film earns pilot respect by letting aircraft feel heavy, fast, and unforgiving. 633 Squadron stands out because it treats flight as a precision task rather than a visual trick. Pilots often say the flying looks right because the aircraft behave the way real machines do at speed. Turns are wide, approaches are tense. The margin for error feels thin. The production used real aircraft flown at low altitude through valleys and narrow terrain. These sequences were not smoothed or rushed. You can see how quickly the landscape rises, how little room pilots have to adjust. That sense of commitment is what flyers recognize immediately. What makes the film believable is restraint. The camera stays with the aircraft instead of cutting away. You feel how long a few seconds can stretch when timing matters. Pilots have pointed out how the planes do not float or glide unrealistically. They move with weight and momentum. Behind the scenes, the flying demanded careful planning and discipline. Weather, light, and terrain dictated what could be done. Instead of forcing perfection, the filmmakers adapted, allowing real conditions to shape the footage. 633 Squadron works because it respects the limits of flight. It shows that success in the sky depends on preparation, steady hands, and calm judgment. Pilots admire it because it understands that realism comes from control, not exaggeration. Number 3, Red Tails, 2012. This film earns pilot respect by grounding modern visuals in real behavior. Even with a contemporary style, Red Tails handles flight with care. Aircraft move with believable weight. Turns feel wide. Climbs take time. The sky shifts from calm to unpredictable without warning. Pilots often praise cockpit behavior. Head movements are purposeful. Instrument checks are constant. Communication is short and precise. These details signal discipline rather than performance. Behind the scenes, aviation consultants shaped every movement. Digital tools were used, but they followed real flight patterns. Pilots say this balance makes the scenes feel grounded rather than exaggerated. What also resonates is the emphasis on teamwork. No one flies alone. Awareness of others in the sky matters as much as individual skill. The film shows that mastery comes from coordination and trust. Red Tails stands out because it treats flyers as professionals, shaped by repetition and responsibility. Pilots admire how the film focuses on precision rather than noise. It understands that control, not speed, defines real flight. Number 2, Top Gun, 1986. Pilots respect this film for capturing the pressure of fast decision-making. While some moments lean cinematic, Top Gun gets the emotional truth right. The intensity, the focus, the need to stay calm while everything moves quickly. Pilots say that feeling is real. Real aircraft were flown and filmed in natural light, giving the sky depth and movement that cannot be replicated easily. Camera teams pushed limits to keep up, inventing new methods as they went. What pilots often highlight is decision awareness. Small adjustments change outcomes. Communication matters. Confidence must exist alongside restraint. The film understands that flying fast demands clarity, not ego. Behind the scenes, the pace of filming mirrored the demands of flight. Missed shots happened because aircraft moved faster than planned. Instead of forcing control, the production adapted. Top Gun remains influential because it respects the mental discipline behind advanced flight. It shows growth through focus and humility. For many pilots, it represents the moment aviation felt challenging, demanding, and deeply real. Number 1, Top Gun Maverick, 2022. This film changed expectations by choosing reality over convenience. Top Gun Maverick earns rare pilot praise because it placed performers inside real aircraft. The reactions you see are not imagined. They are physical responses to pressure, motion, and altitude. Director Joseph Kosinski designed camera systems that could survive extreme conditions. Performers trained extensively so their bodies could handle real flight stress. Pilots immediately recognized the authenticity, the tension in faces, the controlled breathing, the brief pauses before action. Every turn feels intentional. Every second matters. Pilots often say this is the closest any film has come to showing what advanced flight truly feels like. Production required patience, coordination, and respect for real limitations. Early mornings, careful planning, no shortcuts. The goal was simple: show flight honestly. Top Gun Maverick stands at the top because it listens to pilots. It understands that the sky rewards discipline, awareness, and control. It proves realism is not outdated. It is unforgettable. So there you have it. 15 films that didn't treat the sky like decoration, but like a living space that demands respect. These stories remind us that real flight isn't about noise or flash. It's about patience, control, and quiet decisions made far above the ground. Drop your favorite realistic flight film in the comments, subscribe for deeper dives, and remember this: the sky always tells the truth if you know how to watch it.